Yes, they say we won't have peace, peace of mind in Liberia. They say everything they did to us will go under the carpet. Yes, that's what they said yesterday. Even though they lied to us, they said they were bringing a change in our country, but they brought destruction. Papa put them to shame. We really want to bring them to justice. Hey, Papa, please put them to shame. I tell you, man. I tell you, Papa, please. All the warlords, the foot soldiers. Some of them are still saying that we can't do anything to them. Not tomorrow, that today. Put them to shame. All right, it's now time for the new day.
Everything that brought me joy, everything that brought me laughter, they have been stolen from me.
They took everything away from me.
Lord, I want a new day.
Everything from the country.
I want a new day in my business. I want a new day.
And they say they have come to give us freedom.
I want a
How can you give freedom from life to death?
Please give me a new day.
Ah, yes. Give us new day, Lord. A new one.
Give me a new day. Give me a new day.
They came and lied to us.
Give me a new day. Please give me a new day. Yesterday I had to struggle before I survived. Yesterday I had to hustle before I can make it. I don't want yesterday. A new day. Everybody laughing at me. They're asking where's the God that I'm serving. That's what I've come to you, Lord. Jesus. What I want is a new day. You are the only God I know. You are the only God that I'm serving. You said that I put that trust in you, Lord. They shall never be put to shame. I've come to you with my pains. I've come to you with my troubles. Oh, my hero. What I want is a new day. Lord, you said in your word, I should forget, yeah, the former things. You said, behold, you are about to do a new thing. You said you will do something new in my life. All the eyes of them that see it will marvel. But my enemies are shame, Lord. Please give me a new day. Give me a new day. Give me a new day. I don't want yesterday. All I want is a new day. Yesterday broke my heart. Yesterday brought me peace and frustration. I don't want it.
Oh, yes. We sincerely We really, really do not want yesterday to be part of us anymore. We want a new day. But we know definitely that before we can get that new day, there are certain elements amongst us. They have to face justice. They have to stand before us in a court and get testimony, and of course, and tell us chronologically why they planned and executed war in our land that killed at least a record says 250,000 people, including unborn babies. Yes, those ones that were staying in the stomach of their mothers, 7 months pregnant, 8 months pregnant. Oh yes, they were among the 250,000 people. And people plan to do it. How can you rape a pregnant woman? And somebody just say, this is my brother. We are from the same county. Oh yes, we are from the same country. How can you go and rape that woman? You see her pregnant. What sort of human being are you? What sort of freedom is that? We just want you to come and stand before us. Yes, and tell us why you did it. And certainly we don't want you to go free as well. The time for impunity is over. Yes, the time for impunity in Liberia, it is over. It's time that we get on our feet. It's time that we know our rights and we demonstrate to them that indeed we know our rights, and so that they can't go free any longer. It's been too long now. They've been enjoying, even though we know very, very well that they lied to us. They destroyed our country. They destroyed our children. They got rid of them. Today, many of them, they're referring to them as country boys and country girls. Yes, today, they even label them as Zokos. They are the one that caused it yesterday. These children and none of them, the young people, none of them want to be in the situation they are in right now. None of them want to be sleeping under the bridge there, under the new bridge or the old bridge. Oh yes, none of them want to be sleeping on the tables down Waterside or at Red Light Market or so. No, none of them want to be at, let's say, how they call it, West Point. None of them want to be sleeping when the boatmen pack their boats overnight and they go inside there to sleep. None of them, I can tell you. And nobody will born a child and say, yes, I want that child to end that way. The people came and lied to the children. Yes, a lot of them are still saying it. But Naked said it the last time in many interviews. He said, we lied to the children. What we told them was that when they go to the war front and they killed a person that owned the house, that house is for them. Yes. When they go into that town, if they go to that compound and kill the manager in that car, take that car, the car is for you. That's what they told the children. Exactly, that's what they told them. But it's over. You know, sometimes you can make some clumsy mistakes, you know. But those mistakes sometimes can make you to say, well, you know what, this is what I need to build on and move on. And you tell yourself, never will I repeat such again. Because what you learned the lesson. We've learned. Yes, it was a mistake. There are many of you stood in the land yesterday just because of t-shirt. And you went and voted them to power. Yes, it was a mistake. Let us accept it now. But should we continue to live this life? Should we continue to give them the chance to continue using us? Should we? I say no. It's never too late. Perhaps my mother was not even born before World War I or World War II. But even up to this present, people are still being prosecuted for what they did during that time. Yes. People are still being sent to court. In Bosnia, people are still being tried at The Hague. The role they played yesterday. And so we are up now. Yeah, Laura, yes, I agree. Sometimes the mind sleep. But sometimes it's good as well to wake up that mind. If the mind self doesn't, is not in the position to wake up, you have to wake that mind up and tell the mind that it is time that you wake up to the reality of life, and tell that mind that it is time that you know you're right and you stand for it. And that's exactly what we're doing. Because some of them, those minds are still sleeping. Yes, I agree with you, Laura. But we are here now to say, this is the time that you should wake up and stand up for your right. I'm going to play a recording before we go further, where Prince Johnson just recently again in Nima County, he was speaking and he said, I quote, "Nobody will take me from here to carry me to any court. I am not going to any court. And if anybody touch me right here in Nima County, my young people are here, they are behind me. The Nima people are here, they are behind me." I really want some of you advocates, especially those of you from that region, to come out and condemn this statement from this man. The last time he came up as well, and he said, and I quote him, "We have formed an association of former warring factions." And he started naming some of the executive members. We came up and we keep on our platform here and we condemn that statement. And some of you up to now, you have not come out to say a word about it. What sort of advocacy are you doing then? If you say you're advocating for peace and justice in Liberia, that you want warlords to face justice, put away your ethnic connection with this man. Yes, we know there are many of them, but at least others are keeping silent as well. And others are speaking like butt naked. Even recently, butt naked said, well, for me, I support the War Crimes Code, and I'm prepared to go to court. And let me go pay for it. That's why he said, that butt naked. This is a man that went to the TRC. This is a man that stood before us in the during the TRC hearing. And he said, I killed at least somewhere around 20,000 people. And everybody was in that house. Whoa. This is a man. He confessed and he told us how many people lives he took away. Children as well were involved. He said at least 20,000 people are killed. That's what Bodnik said. And he kept saying, I know I've been haunted for what I did. Even when I go somewhere for work, before even I started the church business, they throw words at me. Yes, that's why you sold yesterday. You sold it. But today he came back again. He said, well, for me, if the war crime codes come to Liberia right now, I am prepared to go to court. I am prepared to pay the price. Why is it this one man, Prince Y. Johnson, is challenging the whole country? Nobody is talking about it. We call on the authority the last time. We call on even the Ministry of Justice that this particular statement, I think this man should be called upon to give statement. I mean, to tell us that he have decided to put together an association of former warring factions. Oh, come on, man. That is a security threat, let me tell you. It's a security threat. Because when I was reading international relations, politics and international relations, I did I did some courses that has to do with international security as well. That is a security threat. And I'm going to play you another voice of his recently on the same war crimes code again. The man remained defiant, not only to us that are advocating, but to the very government in Liberia. Because why? Since our president came to power, one day he hasn't come out to say a word about the TRC report or the recommendations. One day he hasn't come out to say, yes, Liberians are crying. Some people are in certain corner, they are crying. They say they want war crime code for Liberia. Oh yes, that they want people to face justice for what they did yesterday. But this is our position as a government. This is my position as the president of Liberia. Since January to this present, this president haven't said a word. And I'm going to continue holding him on to that. We can have outsiders, yearning and they want justice for us in our behalf. No, man. Somebody sitting way in America that doesn't have any relative in Liberia, have not ever been to Liberia, even on holiday or whatever, never been there. They're sitting down in the Congress and they're introducing the bill to support war crime courts in Liberia. Yes. Other envoys, like including the German envoy, just came out recently that they will support it. The British government, they said they will support it. And they told us that we shouldn't even worry about money. Liberia shouldn't worry. And we got this one man. He says something nobody want to come and challenge him. They all keep quiet. They keep the silent. What sort of human being are we? If this man were from Foya, even if you're from Foya, and he said these words, I will be coming at him. I will be coming at him. Joseph, I'll bring you on. I will bring you on. Let me just land up. I will bring you on. You say you're advocating for social justice. Let's forget. Like you're a Liberian. Do something genuine, man. Do something genuine. Even if you are from the next door, or you are the next door neighbor to Prince Johnson in Nimba County, you are an advocate. These are statements that you're supposed to be condemning. And you say, I don't stand with you. And you call on the young people of Nimba County and tell them not to listen to what this man is saying. All of you there, you're sitting and you're just beating around the terrain. Every day your own president, we are only. You're forgetting about the nitty-gritty part of what we're supposed to be discussing here. I don't care how our President George Weah is. We put things together so long we have these guys in our midst. We have those corrupt people. We have those guys that continue to use our children. We will never ever move forward. You'll never move forward. You need to find another platform to go and ask that question, because we're going to block you soon. Not here for a joke. We're talking about lives. We're talking about children that were killed. We're talking about mothers that were raped. Then you're sitting here, you're asking me, as you go and meet him face to face, this is not your platform, okay? If you want to defend Prince Johnson, this is not your platform. So you're going to find your way to go somewhere now. Give me a chance. Let me take a step on this quickly. You got to block you and it lets you go quick. You can't keep somebody like you on this platform. Goodbye. Next time you go on somebody else's platform, you will know, you will ask the right question. Don't come on this platform and ask that question. You want to go create your platform and go and defend your Prince Johnson. But I'm not here for that. I'm telling you, buy now and buy for good. You will never ever come across my material on Facebook. Never ever again. Except you go, you come with different name and you send me friend requests or so. Well, let's see whether we can go to, we can listen to Prince Johnson here. Let me see. I will take you, Joseph. Just give me 1 minute, because we're going to be here for a little longer time today. I normally do not go over 2 hours, but today I will go over 2 hours on this show, because we're waiting to be joined by Emmanuel Service. We thank God, Emmanuel and the other guys from let's say Canada. They arrived already in Liberia, and we are happy that they arrived safely. Joseph Kekula, I will take you soon. Let me play this audio from Prince Johnson, the latest one, so you can hear him as well. Let's see whether everything is okay.
I'm not afraid, but the fact is that we all must understand why we had to fight. As Mimbanians, we know very well we were under siege. Our country was under siege by the Dole regime. We have audio report, we have video report where he said Mimbanians must what? Leave their country or they would never be seen again. We have those reports. We understand in those days, those fateful days, those bitter days, Honorable Councillor Tewon Gonglo could not use the word Gonglo, because wherever name was using Maluva, you were kicked out of the home. You will see body one side, hair one side. Where was Tewon Gonglo that time? Even my son, Koga, who talking about World Grand also, he ran away. He was saying, "We are play Africa, dividing Bokawi." We stood. Many of our comrades are there today, but we who lay. Is that the honor we receive from you? We paved the way for you, young boys, to grow up, to know the history, and tell your children never again to go back to the ugly times. So when you have Larry Youngquay talking about World Grand Co, the first thing I must let them know, it will never come here. Never. You know why it should not come? If there is an amnesty granting you pardon for whatever you are allegedly accused of doing, and you have a pardon, will anybody go after you? I'm asking you, are you allegedly accused of committing crime, and the president or the law grant you amnesty for whatever you were being accused of? Will people go after you for that same matter? No! The PRC junta overthrew it during the reign. They published a law, printed into handbills, is in the Constitution 97, granting themselves general amnesty for whatever they did while they were in office and after office. 97 came Liberians. He said, you will be doing wrong. If you were to come and arrest me, I will fight you. You know why? The same crime you want to arrest me for, which you alleged against me, is the same damn crime that Taylor committed when you said you killed Mama. You
is in prison,
him with the presidency. You paid Taylor to be the president of Liberia. He's going to jail. It's not because of Liberia, because of informing Sierra Leone, alleged informing Sierra Leone. Then after Taylor, you say burn the mansion, destroy the mansion. I will rebuild in 3 days. You are compensated, Madam Salih, for 12 years. Now I'm a senator looking for a job to be your leader, talking about World Grand Co. Can't catch me. I tell you what, I'm just saying, the injustice, the selected justice. Tell him my boss, how did he get free from American maximum prison? Ellie, my sponsor. You are paid them to be president.
But Honorable Senator, others will be saying that you have been paid also by NIPA people for 18 years.
That's not the thing. I'm talking about national leadership. Man, people believe I'm a hero, when the other time I'm a devil. Because you were being killed, I stood for you.
Why every time this war crime issue is brought forward, Senator, you sound so bitter about it, not other war laws?
When the lightning flashes and the thunder roll, who cover your head? You cover your own head. So when you put my name and all the skeletons of my own people you kill, and put it graphically, you put it in the newspaper, and put my picture there that I killed my own people, then you are a fool. There must be.
Senator, you have said the World Crime Court will not be established in Liberia, and all international bodies have stepped in. I understand the German ambassador to Liberia also spoken about it. He has also voiced support. The international community is also stepping into this thing.
There may not be Okran with our law. Liberia is a sovereign country. Okay. Liberian parliament enacted a law granting amnesty from 1990 to 2003. That's what I'm saying. So if you want to repeal that law or amend that law or throw the law away to impose your will on us, then you will have a crisis on your hand in the Republic you will regret.
How will you come?
Go grab Alhaji Krumah. All the money will rise up. Go grab Joe Bully. All the crowd will rise up. Go catch Prince Johnson. You won't catch me.
Why?
You won't even catch me. Because the resistance you will find for young guys, it will be maximum uncontrollable and ungovernable.
Yep.
When you talking, those who talking, it's good you talking so we can know you. So the day trouble come here, which we don't pray for, your home will be the visitation.
Now, this is why he said, here, I will talk, and we will be in Monrovia, we will talk in front of you, and we'll call upon. You're here. This is the latest one. This one, a lot of radio stations in Liberia, they don't even have it yet. You're hearing you. This man got plan. And this is what I said the last time. I told the justice ministry that this statement this man is making, that he having an association, he have decided to form an association of former warring factions. This is a security threat statement. This man should be called by the authority. Let him give a statement. Let him give explanation. And nobody, up to now, nobody is asking Prince Johnson why he made that statement. And now he had made additional one. Hearing this is a serious threat. Come and touch me. We will go back. And then somebody coming on the platform here, stay coming here to defend Prince Johnson. I will forward this recording to the Justice Minister. And then listen to it again. Yeah, listen to it. This man depending on something. And this is why I'm saying, all of us that are in the diaspora especially, that you call yourself, you from that region, that you call yourself a Nimba person, come out and condemn this statement. Mandingo people, no Mandingo person, Prince Johnson, forget about that. No Mandingo person will be stupid enough to follow your footsteps to say, if Alhaji G.V. Krumah is arrested today, that Mandingos will rise up in Liberia to wage war. That's a lie. That's a big lie. George Bole is arrested today. Nobody. But now this man is training some boys already in the bush. Let me go to the video. I hope that Joseph calling. All right, I think it's Maurice Mazakwa. Let me see. Joe, after please hit the dashboard. Let me speak to let's hear from Maurice Mazakwa, and then from there we will go into this. The man is boasting, challenging everybody. Maurice, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Yeah, good afternoon, bro. How are you?
Let me carry the volume up small. I hear you.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, what you say? You following the program? What's your thought? PYJ just spoke.
Yeah, I follow the recording that you just played. Let me just tell you something. All the things like
you sounding a bit low. I don't know if you can get closer to your.
Yeah, I said
Good.
I just listened to the recording just now. That statement that Prince Johnson made. Let me just say to you, it's a scary statement that he's making. Prince Johnson will face the war crime court. I should not lie to you. So he's just trying to like show all those that take part in the war. So he's just trying to point finger at everybody. So he's just thinking like he want to going to catch. But I like what he's doing by pointing finger at the other rebel leader. So I really tell him thank you for that. I don't think so anybody going to join on the street because they rest a larger crime. I don't think so. Any Manigo people going to join the street for that. I don't think so. They're going to do that. That the way the Geo can do. I don't think so. Manigo people are going to do that because the matter of fact when they people commit, they already commit a crime. So then they face the judge and the war crime code for that. No one above the law. So the only thing me I get to say to the Liberian government and so the arrest Prince Johnson for the statement like he making because he always threaten our peace. So they really have to arrest him for that. This is not the first time, it's not the second time. Prince Johnson always making the kind of statement. So people have to know, the government have to know that Prince Johnson get a plan. He already get a boss in Lima. He already formed his own rebel group back. So we should not take the kind of statement that Prince Johnson making. We should not take it. We should not take it as a granted. So we really have to call the defense minister. We have to call even the president. All of them have to call Prince Johnson for you to come ask some caution because he already started threatening the peace of our country. Yeah. So it's not.
And he telling us that all of us that sitting on the radio every day, they feel marking our faces.
Yeah, because he know already what he do. So he already guilty. So he feel like he would not be prosecuted for that because he now he talking about child labor in the hill. Of course they don't care child labor for Liberia problem for South Leone problem, but also when child labor are going to be also they're going to also he also going to face the war crime code. Yeah. So the Liberian people already know that child labor already in the hill. So we are fighting for him to also go there. So he might not think like he will not go there. So he might not be seen be making some kind of scary comment. No war coming to Liberia. So that one they have to tell Prince Johnson. I don't think so. Any people able to back him when a ready to arrest him for them to back him or bring war to that country. We are not no more stupid. No youth is stupid again for them to go gone for war to come by to that country. So that one that Prince Johnson just take that one from back of every man because even when the citizen who the one will kill him. Before those are coming to protect him. Yeah.
Maurice, yes, few of us are thinking the same way, but I think before you came on, there was a guy who came on and he said that he challenged me to go and all what I'm saying, I should go and stand face to face with Prince Johnson. So see, these are some of the elements, you know.
Now I get to tell you, get some people, scary people just say that they get all kind of scary remarks because they feel they are there worshiping Prince Johnson, but no one is worshiping Prince Johnson. But me, the last time our OKFN, I already tell them all the president like Prince Johnson have been killing, or all the wanted like they made for them to kill. Jawia will be the last person that they will do that one to. That one we already tell them, and even the Jawia man, now we are telling him now. He have to make sure for them to bring Prince Johnson to come and answer question because he always making that kind of statement. So we are calling on the government for them to bring Prince Johnson to come answer some statement like he are making in our country because he already now start betraying our peace in our country. So we are not satisfied with him. So they really have to bring him to the law. But nobody afraid of Prince Johnson. He might not even think that we're going to come back into that country. That one they just take it hard from there. We're just going to deal with the law and thank God people coming in for them to form the war crime. Because let us see if Prince Johnson say he will not go. So all our history like he getting that one for a one. Because he already know about killing our people. Nobody happy of that.
All right, Amos. So thank you very much. Thanks, Maurice. Thanks for your contribution. This is what I want to be hearing. At least people, have to come out to, to issue condemnation. This is not right. Let me see what I. Kaiser. Let's see what I can get. Sir David Kaiser, Mrs. Sir David Kaiser. All right. Kekula, please place the call as well because I can see you on my dashboard. So you need to place the call so I can hear from you. We can hear from you as well. We got a couple of things here. We really want to go in the TRC a little bit. became pastor yesterday only because he wanted to drift away from the reality. That's true. Prince Johnson, as you know, so-called pastor, is not feeling sorry for his sins. That's true. And every Sunday they may go to the pulpit. He doesn't even read the Bible. Every day now he's on the walk around quoting, talking to his congregation. The boss said they won't come for me. But the Nima people will resist. But the Nima people will not agree. Come on, man. All right, we can get sure. Let's see whether we can get okay, let's try Joseph. No, don't call me a messenger. My live broadcast will go off. It will be interrupted. I'm calling you already. You say adding, so just look at your camera. Oh, it declined. Let me try again. All right, the call going through. Don't call me a messenger. Messenger will drop the video out. The call is going through. Watch your gadget. Just to accept, then we take you. I mean, in many of the interviews, Prince Johnson denied that he never ever recruited child soldiers. He said it. He said I was using big guns, so there was no way I could recruit young children. I could give them big weapons to shoot. That's what he said. But let me show you this. What this video is video call is going through to Joseph. Let me show you this. Who is this man? Isn't that a child fully dressed in a military outfit? Isn't that a child? That's Prince Johnson there. That's a baby there. And he himself with the AK-47 giving order there. I don't even know whether that other man and that white man, whether they ever lived or so. But we know at the end of the day, they kind of thing here. The car is there, free car to get. And then let's go down small. That one he already behind here in the UK. There him there again. That's a baby as well. That's a baby. Probably is the same boy that up here. Now imagine this man, will he ever live to see? Will this man ever tell story today? No way. Well, that kind of jungle just a persecutor standing right before him. Look at. Then he deny here, say he never ever recruited child soldiers. Or because he had heavy weapon. Let's try Joseph again for the last time. I don't know what happened, Joe. Joe, you need to have your gadget in the horizontal position. But that's why Prince Johnson said nobody can touch him. Including all the people of Nima County, all the young people of Nima County. And we're sitting here, we are not even sending statement. We are not even sending words to him to say, no, this is wrong. Our children are no longer going to participate in this. Let's see what I will try. Double cover. People sitting here, that nobody get time. Nobody talking about it. Nobody condemning Prince Johnson. Threatening our security, threatening our peace. We're marking all of you that are calling for the war crime court. We're marking you. Thank you for marking us. But we'll continue to call for it. We will continue to preach it. We will continue to campaign for it. Oh God, this call taking long to go. All right, let's see what I promised that we're going to do. Let's start it now. It's about at least 30 minutes gone now or so. We're going to go a little bit in the TRC today. Okay, the calls drop again. Let me see. I don't know why the calls are not coming through. Honestly, I don't know any reason why. Let's try You need to have your whatever device is used. It got to be on a horizontal position. That's a that's one way you need to get it working perfectly. All right, today we're going to go a little bit in the TRC in the TRC report. The document is here. It's very huge document. It's not a document that we can do one day, even one full day. We can't do it. So little by little now, I will be going into it to bring you what we put in the TRC. It is we now because it is the work of the Republic of Liberia. Okay, let's try Eric because the rest of the people are dropping, so I don't know why. All right, you can try and repost the call. Let's see. All right, let's see. Let's try double again. I don't know why this thing is calcula. Let's try Joseph, and then we'll go back to Eric. All right, let's look at. Let me read the summary of the TRC report. We'll do the summary, and then we'll do some quotations. What some people said about this TRC thing. Oh God, these calls are still dropping. Why? People want to contribute. Yeah, we got a huge document here to actually start today and go further in it. Let's try Eric and see whether we get Eric. Okay, let's look at the executive summary of the TRC recommendation. Oh, okay, finally we got double.
Yeah.
Welcome, my man. How you doing?
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother. Thank you for all that you guys are doing to inform us about what is unfolding back home. You know, I just listened to that recording from Prince Johnson, and you know, that is very, very unacceptable.
It is.
But you see, I don't blame some of those people because, I mean, frankly, I was one of those that I said I think we should give George Weah a chance. Maybe he can do something, you know.
Yeah.
But after I saw him selling his political soul to these guys, I knew where we were heading to. You know, George Weah sold his political soul to Prince Johnson. So getting it back is difficult because we all saw George Weah hand in hand with Prince Johnson carrying him around Nimba. And that vote really had an impact on Weah becoming president. So to see Weah going back at those people, it's going to be difficult. And we saw Madame Salif campaigning with Weah, taking Weah to a groundbreaking ceremony at the intersection of Joe Boakai's home. What does that tell anybody? Ellen was supporting Weah. So that's what I mean to say. Weah sold his political souls to those people. So now that we are all crying, we want this justice. We want justice. Because in the past, we saw Weah and all his followers fighting for this cause. They wanted it so badly.
Yeah.
So to see it going the other way today, I know, I mean, I don't know. And then for Prince Johnson, you know, the previous caller said Prince Johnson is doing a scare tactic. You know, I don't take it as a scare tactic.
I don't take it as a joke.
I take it very serious.
Yeah.
Very seriously. I mean, I take it very seriously because our people back home are poor. And when somebody is very poor, it's easy to control their mind.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that country is still fragile. You know? Some of those boys can even be moved because they know if they got a gun, they can break into somebody's house and take things. And like that, they can get their daily living. So it's easy to control them. It's easy to pull them over.
Very easy.
So hearing that Prince Johnson is forming an alliance with other warring faction leaders, that's scary. You know, because all of those guys are afraid to go to court. They are all afraid to go to court. So for them to come together is easier, because they will say, let's fight this and let's not go to court. Because they know if they go to court, something is going to come out of that court that will impact their life negatively. They know.
Yeah. So
now that Prince Johnson knows that too, he's going in correlation with those guys. Unfortunately for Liberia, we got George Bulley in the house. We got Prince Johnson in the house. Prince Johnson just told all that they enacted a law granting them amnesty. For God in heaven's sake. But that doesn't scare me, because there are international laws. So if your country does not hold you for violating the law in your country, the international community can hold you for violating international laws. Okay? And you are just showing those pictures, like the child. That's an international law. That's not Liberian law. If you recruit child soldier. So for him going to the court, that we know is for sure. They will be dragged to court. Okay? We know that. But my fear is the way they are going about galvanizing support, talking to people, bringing themselves together. That's a security threat to the nation. And we are in his government. They are sitting there hearing all of these things. If this was a common man that have making such a threat, that person would have been behind bars right now.
Long time NSA, yeah. What?
That person would have been behind bars right now. I remember there's a talk show host in Liberia here, in America, where I am, that said, I didn't hear it. That was some allegation that I heard, whether he said it or not, that you were going to overthrow Guia or you're going to assassinate Guia. That was a whole month talk in Liberia.
Yeah, I heard it.
People were insulting this guy. People said he should be arrested. This guy will never go to Liberia. I heard that. And Prince Johnson is saying, if you just touch him, even those that are talking about it now, he's marking their faces. The day anything like that come out, their houses will be the first he will go to. And the government is sitting there doing nothing. For God in heaven's sake. Where are we heading to, Liberia? Where? So is Prince Johnson more important than Liberia to we are? Man, it's saddening, man. I don't just know. You know, for me, I don't come up some of these programs just like that, just listen, but I'm really forced, constrained to come on and really vent this out, man. It's saddening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the contribution. You know, this is a Liberians. At the end of the day, this is, even if we are residing today and we're taking wherever we are as our home, not even now I'm going to die here. No, I don't want to. I don't want to retire here. I don't want to. That's why I have an NGO that I continue to give back every day, give back to my community back home in Liberia. My interest is there. My families are there. It's not because I'm not doing this because my uncle, because he refused in Foya to hold a gun. I'm not doing it because they blindfolded him and tabé him and tie him up, boil the water in the drum and put him there and he was cooked to death. I'm not doing it because of him. I'm doing it for the sake of the children that are coming up today. We don't want them to think that, yes, killing somebody is good. Now what they told them yesterday, it's good to kill somebody. It's good to kill them and take their property. It's good to kill them and take their money away from them and take their car away from them. It's good to rape that woman. Even when she's pregnant, it is good to do it. I don't want the next generation to grow up thinking that that's how it is because of what they are seeing today. We keep electing them. We keep giving them paid. He himself talking about people pay child still. We paid you as well. You didn't stay enjoying the fruit that all of us are supposed to enjoy. You getting 99% of it. Mr. Johnson. But I challenge my colleagues again. Because there are many of you on the platform, you're on the social media. Like I am sitting here. Many of you. You hail from that county. But Prince Johnson came out and said the last time. And I came here immediately when I heard that statement. I call upon you that you guys should condemn this statement. When he said that he have put together an association of former warring factions, that this wasn't in the interest of our peace or our peaceful citizens in Liberia. None of you came out to say anything. Prince Johnson has come up again with this latest one. None of you. We challenge the government up to now through the Ministry of Justice. They haven't come out to do anything. Then my brother just said, double just said, let's say common man, not even common man. But it's anybody they refer to as an opposition person that have said this. But now you're beyond bad. You charge you for treason. You gotta balance it, man. You gotta try to balance it. Maybe all the Kissy people that are mentioned in the TRC, the day I reach to those names, I will keep calling them over and over. And some of them, even if I know them personally, if I knew them yesterday, that we were friends. The friendship is over. They will no longer be my friend. No way. No way, not me anymore. But we continue to keep our silence as this. Musu, if we continue to keep our silence, if we don't talk when this thing come out, the man will continue to feel that way, that he owns Liberia. Let's be honest. He said, I can say anything and nobody going to question me. Let's go to the executive summary. I'm so sorry, Joseph, we can't get to you. I think it's due to your network all the way there. But if you can call me direct on the telephone line, let me see whether I can post the line as well. Let me see. And so maybe we can do it that way. You can call but they say it's quite expensive to call from Liberia now. I don't know. Okay. Let me post the number just in case if anybody wants to call. You don't want to be seen on the video, but you can call the number. That's fine. +1 443 602 8847. You can call that number just in case it's a USA number, whether you're in Liberia or not. You can call that number. Joseph, I think you can try that number now, just in case we're not getting you on the video. Let me see again whether you're there. Yes, let me see if I can send you a request. The last time and send your request. All right. In the meantime, let's go to the executive summary. I really want to go share this with you today. We're going to start it today and we'll continue when we get to the listing, and then we'll continue as well from there. And I promise you, I get to the listing. Those people that are supposed to go to court, I get to that listing. I see any kissing man name in the listing, in this TRC report. I will call their name every day. I'll be calling their names that they should go to court. Brother, welcome, man. Mr. Kekula.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you very much, Uncle Mark. How is the program?
Well, my man. We're still doing a bit and bit. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Okay, thank you very much for the discussion.
You say that Thanksgiving today in Liberia, right? How is it today?
Yeah, it's very fine. We thank God. The weather is better for us here today, and people are just celebrating the Thanksgiving days. Churches went together today, more especially in Ganta, where they were celebrating today's prayer. Yeah, as I'm speaking from Ganta.
Wow. Okay, that's is it Ganta they call Zulu whiskey? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. You said?
Is it Ganta as they call Zulu whiskey as well?
Yeah. I'm in Ghana also.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
bro.
but actually,
Welcome.
yeah, as you are just discussing concerning the recording, that's one thing we've observed. Like of recent, some lawmakers were being named by the Honorable Mayor Senator Johnson. He talked about Representative Sam Koga, Representative Larry Yonkwe. He talked about Tiawan Gonklu. All those people were being named in his recording. And this morning, Representative Yonkwe did react to him and said that it seems to be that Senator Johnson is afraid and who claimed to be a godfather or a hero is like going down to zero. That's why he's making these statements. And Liberians should not be afraid. And they think that such a statement needs attention by the national government. And so if he can be making this statement, it means it's a security threat. And that's how many persons have been discussing it around here. Even in Nimba County, there are some Nimbayans who are not even satisfied with such a statement made by the senator. And many think that if the senator can say this, then it means that he might have certain honor too, or some reasons, and he needs to be questioned on why he's making these statements. And these are some of the things many persons have been discussing. Like on some of our talk shows here, people have come out, reacting to him concerning his statement. And one thing it does is that it's like putting fear, but many think that it's not putting fear, he's just threatening, and because he's also afraid. And many say that because he has gained a lot of wealth in this place, he has earned a lot of prestige when it comes to political relevance in the country, in the country at large, where he becomes like let's say the final whistleblower when it comes to politics in Liberia. And so he thinks that when the World Crown Court shall come, he may not have that type of defendants, or he may not have that type of respect, and he may not surface again when it comes to politics. So these are some reasons he's saying these things. And people are even encouraging people not to be afraid. Those are speaking about the World Crown Court. They are saying that they shouldn't be afraid because he's only saying these things to put fear in people to stop. And as we speak, many persons have been discussing, like of recent, we understood that there were one of the warlords were arrested in France, and upon the arrest, there was a release on Front Page Africa by one Camara who said that there are 3-4 persons who are supposed to be arrested before the end of this year, and these persons won't have been arrested, and they expect that 1 or 2 persons may be arrested before the year ends. So there's something that the statement is like a direct attack to the senator. And like this morning when we were like discussing such an issue, there were some issues raised, names were called, like George Bole, like even in the Zigzag Massa from Nimba, the late Moses Blah, his name is on the list. Presently, as we speak, we have one of the former senators of Nimba County, Senator Duffus Dolo name is on the list. Okay, and those people are not commenting. But why is it that the senator continues to say these things, speaking, these statements, which, so these are some concerns that have been raised by the citizens, both in Nimba and other parts of Liberia, more especially when they listen to these recordings. So this is just what's happening here.
Now, I mean, in terms of job opportunity, you as a young man on that side as well, what would you say are young people kind of in terms of being empowered through jobs? Are there jobs opportunities there? Because you guys should have some concessions going on there.
Yes, exactly. We have concessions going on here, but one thing is that it's like difficult, okay, when it comes to job opportunity, because one thing people are looking at is that how educated and how sufficient those people are, or individuals are, into a specific field of study when it comes to seeking job. So one thing many persons are looking at now is to higher education, to go to places to learn some trade, and specialize themselves into specific places, so that at least tomorrow they can have the opportunity to have job opportunity too. Because one thing is that when you go to some of those places for job, a driver, and where you find out that aliens and foreigners will be like benefiting. Like of recent, we have a Salamita in the country for the past years. And there are some people who have been employed in those places in that company, and they have been like ill-treated, maltreated by the company. According to some of our investigations we've conducted, there was one of the employees, one of the expatriates who came and exposed some of the benefits that those people are supposed to have, and later resigned. He resigned on ground that if he stays there, the company may not see being protected. So he decided to resign and leave the country. And so the citizens are being like demonstrating on the information given them by this man who was that direct employee. And then the company is also like facing the challenge with the citizens. Like presently, there are some demonstrations that people are carrying around concerning against Esalamita because they feel that as they are working, they are not getting just benefits they're supposed to have. Some of them work from the morning, like 8 to 12 hours. They are not paid according to what they're supposed to get. So for these reasons, this demonstration sometimes take place, and that just requires government attention to see how best some of those issues can be resolved. But up to now, there are not being like many concern from government to really push. One thing people observe is that like the government officials, many of them may take side with these companies because maybe there may be some personal interest in these companies. So at the end of the day, the citizens become like the victims of the company's operation.
Kekula, let's talk. Make us to understand a little bit about the. Let's look at the cover of the county, which of course the government normally disburses something like what we call county development funds. As far as what you've been seeing on the ground is concerned, are you seeing the fruitful use of the county development funds benefiting young people, benefiting our children, and also maybe empowering them? Or is the other way around?
Actually, the county development fund has a lot of challenges, more especially when it comes to impacting the citizens directly, more especially affected communities, that companies that are paying this money to government, to the county. These areas are like facing challenges when it comes to development. Like presently, when you get into the Salamita areas of operation, you find out the lack of water, no safe drinking water for them. And the county development fund, like about 30% goes to the affected community, and that is divided among the various towns and villages that are directly affected. But at the end of the day, what happens is that what's supposed to benefit the citizens directly cannot directly benefit. They cannot benefit it because politicians do it to gain relevance or to gain that political popularity, and so most of the politicians decide which projects to direct. And sometimes when the citizens decide to do their project, it becomes like so long as it's not in the interest of the politician, you see that project hardly go on. So this is one of the challenges we face, and there are investigations even on the county social development fund, and where organizations in NGOs have been conducting investigations to really see that whether the county development fund is actually impacting the citizens. And many reports that have come out proves that the county development fund is not actually impacting the citizens. It's like empowering politicians, making them to just gain a political will because they feel they are in power. No one speaks against it. No one talks about it. Once you talk about it, you become like the bad person. And, these are just the things that are happening. Like there are communities, so roads supposed to be there, covers supposed to be there. Under the county development fund, agreed from the county setting that this road should be laid out with covered everything. But up to now, 3 years now, no, there are streets that were being opened in Ganta, in Saklepie, in Ban, in Tapeta, and even in Senikole. But those people, these places have been open, streets have been opening, but the streets are opening no covered. So you find out that at the end of the day, so long there is no covered, it means there is no good route or no good route for the people to pass. Yeah, so it becomes difficult. That complaints have been coming throughout from the communities when you have on talk shows. So this is one of the challenges the counties or the citizens within the county are facing. And it just needs government attention to properly put in place a monitoring and evaluation that will help the citizens directly benefit. But if government does not pay attention to that, then it's just only intended to enrich the politicians. And that's just what's happening here in our country. In every part of the country happens.
Just before you go, the issue of gender-based violence, Maserati County is taking a huge chunk. Almost every month we have to hear about a rape or a child being raped to death or a woman being raped. Also, gender-based violence in Maserati County is not coming. It's not raising the name of Liberia, in a good virtue. What is it like in that part of Liberia where you are? Are you hearing something like that? Are you guys dealing with issues like that most of the time? How is it there?
Yes, like the issue of gender-based violence is taking place, I would say, regularly in the places we find ourselves, because there have been some reports, like presently there are some flyers now that people are even having this awareness, creating this awareness. But it's been happening for a long time. Awareness being created when it comes to the issue of gender-based violence. But one thing that's being observed is that when a victim or involved into the act, and when someone is involved into the act, what really happens is that even if the person is arrested and gone to court, the person is in jail. Sometimes you see in a day of whatsoever time of a week plus a month, you see this person's out. And what happens is that it comes back to the judiciary system, wherein you will find that a victim or a perpetrator who committed a crime is being arrested, and the case has gone to court, the person is out, and they say the person is unborn, or for example, of course in Liberia, is non-billable, we agree. But most often when these cases are taking place, we find out that even parents are afraid, okay? Parents of victims are even afraid to even take these cases to court or to take it to judiciary system to know what right's supposed to be done. So at the end of the day, just as one of the speakers said, poverty leads to so many of these things. So we only need a justice system that whether you have it or not, the justice system should prevail or should stay for you. But if the justice system becomes like it's something where only belongs to rich people, then it puts fear in the citizens themselves. Like for example, if a person is victimized, okay, the person wants to persecute the case to court, and the person does not even have the first funding to either register the case or to even find a lawyer, all these things becomes difficult. So at the end of the day, sometimes people are afraid. And at the end, the crime rate increases daily. If you check some of the websites, even United Nations website, you'll find out that the issue of gender-based violence is on the increase in Liberia. Yeah. It's happening daily, and it even affects in many parts of our communities around where I'm speaking, like in Nimba. There are cases, and even when you visit some of the courts, you'll find out that more than in a month time, you'll find 3, 4, 5 cases. Okay, wow. So there's just an increase. Yeah, and there are other NGOs, international groups that are working on that, but it's not just, it's a government herself has to put herself in a way, create more awareness, provide the means for citizens to be able to prosecute that case without any difficult procedure that will lead to spending, a lot of money. And if that happens, the awareness is created. I think ordinary citizens will be brave enough. But sometimes officials have been involved. As we speak, some years back, we understood a lawmaker was being alleged of raping. So no one knows what becomes of the case. We had the parents of the victim, the parent of the victim, really brave to take the case. If it was not the media, no one would have known that this thing took place. But because the media played a role, and up to now, that particular victim, no one knows the word about the victim and even the perpetrator. So that's the difficult things we still facing in this country. Yeah.
All right, Joe, for today, thank you so much. But anytime you see on, man, please give us a call and we'll take you so we can get update from that part of Liberia. Thank you so much for the call and thank
you very much. Thank you very much.
All right.
I wish you well.
All right, that's Joseph Kpakio all the way there from Nimba County. Is it Grand Juda? Yeah, Grand Juda County. That's Ganta. Yeah. All right, it's just 4 o'clock, just on the hour. I'm just going to read this summary now. Let me not read some quotations, and then we'll hear from Prince Johnson again, and then I will go into the catalog of selected human rights violations. All right, this is a executive summary of the TRC. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Liberia, TRC, was established at the end of the peace conference in Accra, Ghana, when the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, CPA, was signed by all parties to the conflict, including the international community as guarantors, in August 2003. This was, for Liberia, its first period of calm and relative peace following 14 years of civil war and violent armed conflict. Under the CPA, sitting President Charles Taylor stepped down and departed Liberia into exile, paving way for a 2-year Liberian National Transitional Government, LNTG, headed by Chairman Judy Bryant. In June 2005, the National Transitional Legislative Assembly enacted the TRC Act into law. National elections were held in November 2005 and President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was elected, sealing a long period of conflict and creating the space for national reckoning. The elected president inaugurated the 9-member commission in February 2006, and the commission was launched to commence its operation on June 22, 2006. Since its launching in June 2006, the commission for the last 3 years worked tirelessly to fulfill its mandate in the face of mounting administrative, operational, financial, and human resource challenges. This occasioned a slow start of the Commission's work in the first year till July 2007, when activities of the Commission resumed uninterrupted to present, up to the present that the report was produced. Pursuant to its mandate, the Commission conducted public awareness campaigns, collected thousands of witness testimonies, and held public hearings in all 15 counties of Liberia, as well as in the diaspora. Mandate of the TRC. The mandate of the TRC, principally contained in Art 4, Section 4 of the TRC Act, is to foster truth, justice, and reconciliation by identifying the root causes of the conflict and determining those who are responsible for committing domestic and international crimes against the Liberian people as follows. Number one, document. That's the mandate they gave the TRC. We gave the TRC, the body. Document and investigate the massive wave of human rights violation that occurred in Liberia during the period January 1979 to October 2003. Number two, establish the root causes of the conflict and create a forum to address issues of impunity. That's why we say, Mr. Johnson, for us to address the issue of impunity. Those of you guys that continue to steal the country money, we want to address the issue of impunity. That's why we are calling for. And number three, identify victims and perpetrators of the conflict, ensuring that they are identified. We'll point them out. That's why during the hearings, people came out and they said what happened to them. They narrated stories. We've been hearing on this platform, we've been hearing people. Let me read some quotations and we'll hear a little bit from Prince Johnson, then we'll go now to the catalog. Quotations. The nature, scale, and impact of the conflict and the crisis it engendered were so deliberate and repugnant to human sensibilities that ignoring them is intolerable as fearing their repetition. TRC Chairman Jerome J. Verdier Sr. He said this: we shouldn't let it go unpunished. We shouldn't bury it under the carpet. We shouldn't. the nature, the scale, and impact of the conflict and the crisis it engendered were so deliberate. Some of them did it deliberately. Yes. What's about that woman that was pregnant and they went and stood in front of that woman? And they betting and say, what child is a boy, is a girl or so. And they end up taking the child life and the mother as well. Deliberate. Let's go to the other one. Whenever we are forced to use violence as a means of vetting our frustrations with social injustice, we usually stand on the side of evil or injustice, especially if we are the first to strike. Our only protection, if we seek to perceive our humanity in the process, is to stand up. Stand upon core principles of righteousness. Even in the state of war, though this is hard to achieve, if one does not do so, history will usually judge you, the liberator, as having become the new suppressor. You're hearing it? The liberator. Who is saying this? Ambassador Reverend Gerald B. Coleman. And that's true. The liberators yesterday, today, what happened? They are the new suppressor. The post-suppressing, but we don't even know. We continue to look for money to make sure that no generator go off in their homes. Yeah, after killing us. Let's take this last one. This leaves the excruciating problem of human rights violations and other violent crimes which have caused so many victims and so much suffering in the past. They are an open wound in our national soul that cannot be ignored, nor can it heal through mere forgiveness. It cannot. To close your eyes and pretend none of this ever happened would be to maintain at the core of our society a source of pain, division, hatred, and violence. Only the disclosure of the truth and the search for justice can create the moral climate in which reconciliation and peace will flourish. President Kpakio Aloin of the Republic of Chile, when he received the report of the TRC. That's the Chilean president then who was speaking there. Before we go to the catalog, let's hear from PYJ again. We played this earlier. Let's see, for those of you that are just coming in, so you can hear from this man what he said again. I am concerned. If you are not, I am concerned. As far as what he said is concerned,
I'm not afraid, but the fact is that we all must understand why we had to fight. As Mimbanians, we know very well we were under siege. Our country was under siege by the Dole regime. We have audio report, we have video report where he said Mimbanians must what? Leave their country or they would never be seen again. We have those reports. We understand in those days, those fateful days, those bitter days, Honorable Councillor Tewon Gonglo could not use the word Gonglo because wherever name was used in Monrovia, you were kicked out of the room. You will see body one side, hair one side. Where was Tewon Gonglo that time? Even my son Koga, who talking about World Grand also, he ran away. He was saying, "We are playing Africa, dividing Bokawi." We stood. Many of our comrades are there today, but we who lay. Is that the honor we receive from you? We paved the way for you, young boys, to grow up, to know the history, and tell your children never again to go back to the ugly times. So when you have Larry Yonkwa talking about World Franco, the first thing I must let them know, it will never come here. Never. You know why it should not come? If there is an amnesty granting you pardon for whatever you are allegedly accused and you have a pardon, will anybody go after you? I'm asking you, if you allegedly accused of committing crime, and the president or the law grant you amnesty for whatever you were being accused of, will people go after you for that same matter? No! The PRC junta overthrew it during the reign. They published a law, printed to the handbills, is in the Constitution 97, granting themselves general amnesty for whatever they did while they were in office and after office. 97 came Liberians. He said, you will be doing wrong. If you were to come and arrest me, I will fight you. You know what? The same crime you want to arrest me for, which you alleged against me, is the same damn crime that Taylor committed when you said you killed my mom, He's going to jail. It's not because of Liberia, because of informing Sierra Leone, alleged informing Sierra Leone. Then after Taylor, you say, bond the marshal. I will rebuild in 3 days. You are compensated, Madam Sali, for 12 years. Now I'm a senator looking for a job to be your leader, talking about work rank. Can't catch me. I tell you what, I'm just saying the injustice, the selected justice. Tell him my boss, how did he get free from American maximum prison? Alien my sponsor. You have paid them to be president.
But Honorable Senator, others will be saying that you have been paid also by NIPA people for 18 years.
Yes. That's not the thing. I'm talking about national leadership. Man, people believe I'm a hero when I'm a devil. Because you were being killed, I stood for you.
Why every time this war crime code issue is brought forward, Senator, you sound so bitter about it, not other war laws?
When the lightning flashes and the thunder roll, who cover your head? You cover your head. So when you put my name and all the skeletons of my own people you kill and put it graphically, you put it in the newspaper and put my picture there that I killed my own people, then you are a fool. That must be.
Senator, you have said the war crime code will not be established in Liberia, and all international bodies have stepped in. I understand the German ambassador to Liberia also spoken about it. He also voiced support.
With our law, Liberia is a sovereign country. Liberian Parliament enacted a law granting amnesty from 1990 to 2003. That's what I'm saying. So if you want to repeal that law or amend that law, or throw the law away to impose your will on us, then you will have a crisis on your hand in the Republic you will regret.
How will you come?
Go grab Alhaji Krumah. All the money will rise up. Go grab Joe Bully. All the crowd will rise up. Go catch Prince Johnson. You won't catch me.
Why?
You won't even catch me. Because the resistance you will find for young guys, it will be maximum uncontrollable and ungovernable. Yep. You talking, those who talking, it's good you talking so we can know you. So the day trouble come here, which we don't pray for, your home will be the visitation.
All right, my people, you're here. Ben Johnson Day. The next time I'll be presenting my show, I'll be presenting my house and you will see my house. When you're happy, send them to the house. Send your boys. Let them come. Now this statement, somebody telling me that it's good that we celebrate such a statement. Let me go on my line. Let's see what we can get. Julu Kia. While we adding Julu, let's see. I promise today we have to go at least a little bit deep into this catalog of selected human rights violations in Liberia. What brought us here? You know, those causes, those heinous crimes that were committed. When it all started. Why? And so, all right. It says a decline. I think we'll have to do it another time, Kia. Catalog of selected human rights 2003, mostly documented by non-TRC sources. Let's start now. February 1979, 7 people, including one woman, Allen Yancey, convicted and hanged in Monrovia for ritual Boyo killings in 1976. April 14, 1979, brutal suppression by government security of a pending mass demonstration over planned increase in the price of rice. More than 100 people were killed and some 500 injured according to Liberian government statements. March 1980, a major crackdown and arrest of Bako mafias and opposition leaders and supporters by Toba government. Hundreds were rounded up around the country, beaten, tortured, and dehumanized whilst in prison awaiting trial. April 9, 1980, government issued a wanted dead or alive hunt for members of the opposition. Many arrested, detained, and tortured at the military facility of Post Takit because of their political beliefs. April 12, 1980, Samuel Doe's bloody overthrow of TWP government of William Tobert. Schools were killed during the takeover on charges of corruption and human rights violation. On 17 April, shadow trials without due process proceeded against 14 members of the government. 13 were publicly executed on April 22nd. We saw that at the Barclay Training Center, right? Yes. The prisoners were tied to stakes and shot in public view. Proceedings against another 10 detained former officials continued throughout May, and 400 other prisoners, including family members of the deposed president, remained in custody without charge or trial for a prolonged period. March 1981, 7 people were executed by hanging after being summarily convicted of alleged murder and conspiracy in influencing the conduct of armed men. June 1981, 14 lower ranks soldiers were arrested and accused of plotting to overthrow the government and to assassinate several leading members. After a summary trial without defense counsel, 13 of the soldiers were sentenced to death and allegedly secretly executed in the Postake prison, Monrovia. Late January 1982, Sergeant David Bede was executed by firing squad after being convicted of murder by the Supreme Military Tribunal. February 3, 1982, 4 soldiers executed by firing squad without trial. They allegedly confessed during a hurried preliminary investigation by the military authorities to having participated in an armed robbery in which 3 other soldiers died. 1983, the Nima raid by supporters of Thomas Kwamba in Yekepa, Lamco Mining Company and government offices left many injured and rights violated. February 8 and 9, 1984, Willis Nokos, journalist for the Daily Observer newspaper and a correspondent for the BBC in Liberia, was detained at Postake prison. He was severely beaten. He was severely beaten upon his arrest and also whipped during the following days. June 1984, Rufus Dapo, a freelance journalist and former editor of the government-controlled New Liberian newspaper, was arrested and taken to maximum prison Beleyala under harsh conditions and released in November without charge. April to October 1985. In the months preceding the elections, several leading opposition politicians and others were imprisoned. They included Dusty Wolcoli, a prominent member of the Liberian People's Party LPP, and John Kawie, another LPP member, after expressing doubts as to whether the elections will be fair. Both were released without charge. July 1985, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, a leading member of the Liberian Action Party LAP, was placed under house arrest, and a few days later she was detained and moved to the Postake prison. Trial before the Special Military Tribunal and sentenced to 10 years imprisonment for sedition, released 12 days later. November 1985, random campaign of terror in Nimba and other counties against the people of Nimba suspected of supporting the failed coup attempt of General Thomas Kpakio on November 12th. General Charles Julu of the Executive Mansion Guard Battalion, EMG, led the purge against the Nimba people. Human rights abuses, including killings, occurred on a substantial scale the days following the failed coup. The victims appeared mostly to be civilians who had not been involved in the conspiracy but who were suspected by the government of being sympathetic towards Thomas Kpakio. A number of people unaccounted were killed. A number of people unconnected were killed, including Charles Bayon, a senior television journalist working for the Liberian Broadcasting System, who was killed a few days after the coup at the Executive Mansion, official residence of head of State Doe. 1987, John Vambo, a journalist, was also detained without charge in August and later released. 1987, Zay Gonti, a businessman, was arrested in May and detained incommunicado and without trial for over 3 months in a post-arcade and later released. 1989, Gabriel William Pule and 9 other prisoners of concern remained in prison throughout the year. They were convicted without due process and imprisoned under poor conditions. October 1989, Momodu Lavla and 2 other students, including Benedict Galawulo, were detained illegally and without charge for 2 weeks and eventually killed in early 1990. January 1990, the government said a number of rebels had been captured and would be brought to trial, but they appeared to include Gio and Mano civilians arrested in Monrovia. None was brought to trial and their fate is unknown. Meanwhile, a counter-insurgency by the AFL against people mainly of Nimba origin led to killings, burning of villages, and looting. This forced 160,000 civilians in Nimba County to flee into Guinea and Ivory Coast from January to May. Massacres in May were led by Captain James Chile and Edwin Volker. Okay, May 1990, Angeline Wata Allison and 2 others sentenced to life imprisonment for complicity to murder but appear to be prisoner of conscience. June 1990, murder of Moses Dropo by Benjamin Yetin for questioning the leadership status of Charles Taylor of the MPFL. So you kill somebody for that? June 1990, murder of Moses Duopo by Benjamin Yetin for questioning the leadership status of Charles Taylor of the NPFL. June 1990, massacre of 27 Gio and Mano family members at the AFL. June 1990, massacre of 27 Gio and Mano family members of the AFL by Moses Thomas, Moses Wright, James Chile, and George Due, reportedly under orders of Samuel Doe. Between June and August 1990, killing of prominent Liberians including Jackson F. Doe, Kpakio, Gabriel Pule, and up to 80 others associated with the MPFL in a purge allegedly authorized by Charles Taylor, Paul Vey, Henry Cartier, George Masur, and George Kasua effected the arrest in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. Jackson F. Doe was murdered in Zokowe, Niba County. Early July 1990, Bakedu, Lofa County massacre of 500 ethnic Mandingos by MPFL, and Imam was beheaded. July 29, 1990, massacre of 500 men, women, and children, mainly of Gil and Mano ethnicity, seeking refuge at the St. Peter's Lutheran Church in Monrovia as reprisal for the Bakedu massacre. August the 2nd, 1990, massacre of 250 Gils and Manos seeking refuge at the John F. Kennedy Hospital in Monrovia, allegedly led by George Dewey. August 1990, about 50 foreigners, including Americans, were detained by the MPFL. The MPFL also took prisoner at least 30 Nigerians, as well as nationals of Guinea and Ghana, as part of attacks on ECOWAS citizens whose countries were contributing troops to ECOMOG. Oh my God. Yeah, I remember that time I was in Monrovia, I was hearing, oh, they're catching Ghanaian, they're catching. So because the people went to help out to farm pit, then they're catching their citizens. There were reports of widespread arrests among the Ghanaian community living in areas under the MPFL's control in response to ECOWAS' decision to deploy ECOMOG. 1991, the IMPFL reportedly held one woman at its camp without 1991 having taken her prisoner in November 1990, and to be holding a number of children at an orphanage within the camp as human shield to deter a possible attack by ECOWAS forces. I heard that when I was in Monrovia. February 1991, the IMPFL detained and ill-treated some 7 members of the Interim Legislative Assembly for 3 days. September 1991, after the September UNIMO incursion into Western Liberia from Sierra Leone, and again in December, foreign and Liberian aid workers were detained for several days by the MPFL, assaulted and accused for spying. June 1, 2002, Ambassador Albert Kappa killed on June 1, 2002 by forces loyal to Alhaji Kroma over power struggle within UNIMO movement. April 1992, Father Serafino Daipon was arrested by MPFL for possessing interim government currency and a Roman Catholic newsletter alleged to be seditious literature. Here you go. He was released after paying a large fine, but rearrested allegedly on suspicions of sorry, the call was just coming in. He was released after paying a large fine, but rearrested allegedly on suspicions of espionage. He was held in a police station in Banga until May, when he was released and deported to Ivory Coast. We continue with the catalog. I'm reading you the catalog of selected human rights violations over the period 1979 to 2003. Of course, this document is from the TRC, not my own writings. Okay, it's not my own research I made. October 1992, Operation Octopus was the MPFL unprovoked attack on ECOMOG and Monrovia, left scores of civilians dead, paralyzed the city, and created a humanitarian disaster. I was there. October 1992, up to 300 orphans and former government officials were apparently taken away by MPFL forces on about 28 October from an orphanage near Gunnersville. Orphans who escaped reportedly said that the MPFL was forcing the boys to fight for them. October 1992, 5 Catholic nuns were slain in Gunnersville, Monrovia during the Octopus attack by Christopher Vambo and Edward Wowa of the MPFL. Christopher Vambo is in Monrovia right now. June 6, 1992, massacre of 600 displaced persons at a Habel camp. Imagine displaced people, man. The people gone somewhere to go take refuge. Imagine the time when we left our homes and went to Greystone. And you go there to kill people. June 6, 1993, massacre of 600 displaced persons at the Habel camp within Firestone Plantation. The UN WACO Commission placed responsibility at the doorsteps of the AFL. Observers and TRC findings hold the MPFL responsible for the massacre in which the victims were burned on the outskirts of the camp. They burned them alive. Because that one I like, because you shoot, you just kill. I mean, 600 people, imagine. Just go and dump them one place and you put them on fire. Some of them, perhaps they were wounded and they could survive if they were treated. November 1993, the MPFL detained UN aid workers for several days, accusing them of spying. They were later released. November 1993, after thousands of refugees had fled from the fighting in Sierra Leone into Lofa County, ULIMO forces reportedly took about 300 persons as prisoners on suspicion of being supporters of the Revolutionary United Front, RUF. Hey God, you come from trouble, you can't fall down in another trouble. We suffer in the war, yo. Yeah. People running away from the war in Sierra Leone. They come into Liberia, say they go, maybe we'll go to the border around 4 years or whatever, we'll save. Then you can fall down inside again, boom. 1993, murder of 6 Senegalese ECOMOS soldiers by Oliver Vani, Timothy Moruba and Joe Doe in Vahon on orders of Charles Taylor and Defense Minister Thomas Woyo. The bodies were dumped in a Vahon Valley. There you go. People come from where their country is Senegalese. They come from where Senegal. Their parents, they never saw their bodies. May 1994, the LPC reportedly detained 10 Ugandan unmanned soldiers, releasing them a few days later. May 1994, in separate incidents, Mandingo ULIMO fighters held hostage 17 UN employees, delivering food aid, and 16 Nigerian ECOMOG soldiers, accusing them of supporting the rival ethnic clan ULIMO J faction. They were released after a few days. June 1994, AFL soldier detained unmanned staff at Shuffling Barracks near Monrovia for 3 days. June 1994, Clan ULIMO, I think that's the one they call ULIMO J. Clan ULIMO fighters took hostage 6 unarmed unmanned officers in Tomanburg for 2 days, reportedly beating them and subjecting them to mock execution. July 1994, the MPFL was reported to be holding about 25 ECOMOG soldiers and 30 long-term political prisoners. September 9, 1994, the MPFL arrested 23 unarmed unmanned observers and 6 NGO workers and held them at 9 different sites. 33 were released after 5 days and the rest were released by 18 September. The UN reported that some were beaten and terrorized by their captors. September 1994, MPFL fighters reportedly detained 43 unmanned officers and 6 aid workers in various parts of the country for up to 10 days. September 1994, massacre of 100 persons hospitalized at Phoebe Hospital. They were mostly fleeing hostilities between MPFL and Ulimo K. Imagine, man, the people were wounded. They went to the hospital. They went to Phoebe Hospital to get treatment. Then you follow them and finish them up. Let me read that again. September 1994, massacre of 100 persons hospitalized at Phoebe Hospital. They were mostly fleeing hostilities between MPFL and Ulimo K. So even I don't know. Then somebody is telling me that we should continue to pay them for what they did to our country. November 1994, LPC fighters reportedly took 10 girls captive in Sabo Wefenken, slashing their feet and forcing them to walk back to the fighters based in Sano County. I don't know the distance, but to cause somebody to take razor blade or so and split somebody's feet under, and you tell them they're bleeding, and you tell them to walk a distance and go back. Yeah, man. I just tell you, finish me up. December 15, 1994. Cowfield massacre of 48 civilians while they were asleep on Dupont Road, Monrovia by the MPFL. Look at that. People sleeping, man. 48 civilians. People sleeping. But they're children. January 1995, LPC fighters killed 18 civilians in Grand Cru County. January 1996, in the area around Tomenberg, Ulimo J detained 130 ECOMOG troops who had been engaged in clearing mines and held them for 10 days as a shield against attacks. This is another nonsense. Mines were planted by the rebels. Those mines would have, by now, up to now, they could still be killing our people. You doing your farm, you finish brushing, you put the farm on the fire for the grass to burn, and boom, your life and your family life is at stake. So the people were clearing out the mines. February 1996. 8 workers were held for 3 days by the LPC in southeastern Liberia. April 6, 1996, Monrovia fighting to arrest Roosevelt Johnson in a combined MPFL Ulimo operation with support of ECOMOG devastated the city, imposed economic and financial hardships, and caused deaths. During the fighting in Monrovia, members of ECOMOG and other foreign nationals were held at the Barclay Training Center military barracks by Crown troops loyal to Roosevelt Johnson. April 18, 1996. Murder of 12 prisoners in Zuana Town and Blount Town, Bomi County. Group of fighters stormed the displaced camp and burned it down along with Camon Town. There you go. Villages. People they know nothing about your thing you want to do, sir. They only get time to do their farming, to feed their children, and maybe help their children to go to school. Let's look at torture, including rape and ill treatment. And we are still reading the, giving you the catalog of selected human rights violations over the period 1979 to 2003. Everything that I'm reading is coming from the TRC. May 1989, a suspected murderer and another man sentenced to death for murder in February both died at Buchanan Central Prison, reportedly as a result of harsh conditions. October 1989, Henry B. Walker, a murderer suspect, died at the Monrovia Central Prison, reportedly as a result of harsh conditions. October 1989, 2 murderer suspects died at Monrovia Central Prison, apparently as a result of torture, ill treatment, or medical neglect, following their arrest thought to have been in April or May. They had been held illegally and incommunicado in a post target, a military detention facility where political detainees have been tortured in the past. January 1992, while still formally allied to the interim government, the IMPFL ill-treated and held two journalists, Aze Bantu and Dan Brown, for 3 days under harsh conditions. September 1992, nearly 600 ECOMOS soldiers were taken prisoner, some of whom were severely beaten by their MPFL captors. January 1993, ECOMOG beat and injured a British Broadcasting Corporation journalist, apparently because he had criticized ECOMOG in his reports. December 1993, 800 captured MPFL fighters held by the interim government at Monrovia Central Prison were reported to be suffering severe malnutrition and severe malnutrition, medical neglect. 5 were said to have died. July 1994, LPC fighters beat and detained for 5 days a civilian in Buchanan who resisted having his bicycle stolen. Oh God. July 1994, LPC fighters at Banabo Beach in Nimba, 4 district, allegedly heated Manchester in a fire and branded their captives, leave large 3rd-degree burns on their victims. September 1994, the MPFL reportedly detained and ill-treated 30 civilians from the Bassa ethnic group in Butuo, Nimba County, accused of supporting the LPC. September 1994, large numbers of civilians and refugees were beaten and raped, and their property looted by the armed groups involved in the fighting around Banga. Let's continue. September 1994, LPC fighters allegedly cut off the fingers and ears of Abbott Mendy, a journalist. Let me read that again. September 1994, LPC fighters allegedly cut off the fingers and ears of Abbott Mendy, a journalist. 1995, LPC fighters operating with the support of the AFL systematically swept through rural areas in southeastern Liberia, robbing, torturing, and intimidating people and forcing them to take refuge in Buchanan or other places under ECOMOG control. Many of those fleeing to Buchanan in February were reported to have been knocked, shot, or flogged by LPC fighters. At the time, large numbers of people, perhaps as many as 6,000, were reportedly being held by the LPC in the compounds of an agricultural company, where many were raped. April 1995, Yurumo case set ablaze the towns of Fasama, Zwana 1 and Zwana 2. Survivors reported rapes, adoptions, and looting. April 1995, Benjamin Wilson, a journalist with the Eye, was beaten by police when he refused to give them photographs he had taken of damages of a refugee compound in Monrovia. June 1995, UNICEF workers in Buchanan reported that they had registered 652 cases of women who had been raped, mostly by members of the warring factions, within a period less than 6 months. 652. July 1995, Bill Jacklot, a journalist with the news, was beaten unconsciously by Urumo J fighters. He had been interviewing Roosevelt Johnson when fighters stormed the building and he tried to photograph the incident. 3 of those involved in the attack were arrested by ECOMOG and then handed over to the Urumo J High Command. September 1995, James Momo, a journalist with the Inquirer, was beaten by ECOMOG soldiers when trying to photograph AFL soldier at a checkpoint. March 1996, NPFL officials shot 2 men in the legs after they were found threatening civilians. 1990, the predominantly Gio and Mano rebel forces summarily killed government officials and others considered to be supporters of President Doe's government, particularly members of the Kran ethnic group and the Muslim Mandingo community. 1990, an unknown number of prisoners were executed after unfair trials before special courts set up by the rebels. At least 100 people, governmental officials, and members of the Kran and Mandingo ethnic groups were reportedly executed after being convicted of crimes against the people or of supporting the government. January 1990, hundreds of unarmed civilians were killed by rebels and government troops in Nimba County in northeastern Liberia. January 1990, a former prisoner of consignment, Robert Phillips, was brutally murdered at his home in Monrovia by an AFL death squad. May 1990, at least 30 Gio and Manigo men, women and children were abducted by government soldiers from a UN compound where hundreds were seeking protection. They were then apparently executed extrajudicially by the AFL. June 1990, a government soldier was executed by firing squad after being convicted by a court-martial of murdering a civilian. June 1990, several murdered Gio and Mano soldiers were reported to have been arrested. Some appeared to have been extrajudicially executed. Their bodies were found in the streets, although the government said that 150 have been released. July 1990, large-scale killings occurred when predominantly Gio and Mano rebel groups entered Monrovia. One rebel leader was said by eyewitnesses to have personally shot 4 people dead in cold blood, including a Red Cross worker and a woman whom he shot in the face in front of her child. August 1990, in Grand Gila County, the MPFL forces were responsible for indiscriminate killings of people belonging to the Kran ethnic group. Former government ministers, Senator Fred J. Blay and Congressman William J. Jabba, were reportedly executed by the IMPFL. They did not appear to have had any form of trial. September 10, 1990, the assassination of Liberian President Samuel Doe by Prince Yomi Johnson, leader of the Independent National Patriotic Front of Liberia, IMPFL, after being captured the day before at the temporary headquarters of the ECOMOG. October 1990, 2 Nigerian journalists detained by the MPFL, Tayo Awotusin and Chris Imodibi, were reportedly executed extrajudicially. TRC findings revealed that they were executed by food deprivation. They were allowed to starve to death in MPFL prison. 1991, accord between Charles Taylor and Firestone. The management at Firestone had an arrangement with factional leadership during the war to organize protection and export of their product. Firestone reportedly paid the MPFL $2 million annually for protection. MPFL G2 security forces compelled rubber workers to continue working in exchange for use of Firestone communications equipment and a base for Operation Octopus that began in October 1992. Tell me, $2 million annually Firestone were paying MPFL, were paying directly to Charles Taylor. I'm not taking any call now, please. I want to go forward in this document. I'm not taking any call now. Let me digest this, and then we take a call in the next couple of minutes. 1991. The MPFL was responsible for the killings of hundreds of members of the Kran ethnic group and members of the Mandingo community in Grand Jide County, who were targeted for formally supporting the Dole government. MPFL continued to detain, torture, and kill civilians in other areas under their control. 1991, the IMPFL or NPFL killed Angeline Walter Allison. It was also reported that her husband, a former defense minister, Major General Grady Allison, was captured and executed by the MPFL. September 1991, it was reported that a number of MPFL soldiers had been extrajudicially executed after attempting to assassinate Charles Taylor. However, these reports were denied by the NPRAG administration. It said that an MPFL officer had been executed after a special court martial had convicted him of murdering 5 soldiers. October 20, 1991, arrest of Jackson F. Doe, Paul Vey, Henry Cardier, George Massour, and George Kassour arrested Jackson Doe in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County, on the orders of Charles Taylor, and murdered him in the town of Zogwe in Nimba County. January 1992, the IMPFL had executed at least 3 of their own soldiers at an MPFL camp near Monrovia for being in possession of new currency issued by the interim government. April 1992, NPRAG authorities charged 4 senior MPFL officers with the murder of 7 suspected Urimo supporters in Buchanan. 3 were later released, and it was not known if the others was tried. July 10, 1992, MPFL fighters allegedly killed 9 forestry workers in Jinimama. Okay, that's Liberian village. I don't know. August 1992, Urimo seized MPFL control territory. Both MPFL and Urimo forces were alleged to have killed civilians suspected of supporting the other side in the fighting. That's it. How so many people got killed when you come from the other side going for safety and say, oh, you're the supporter for the other people. Okay, let's continue. August 1992, several dissident MPFL soldiers were reportedly executed by the MPFL for their involvement in an attempted assassination of Charles Taylor, in which a bodyguard was killed. October 1992, during the Octopus attack on Monrovia, NPFL forces were reported to have deliberately killed civilians and taken other prisoners. MPFL troops reportedly abducted 50 people and killed others when they took control of Louisiana Township near the capital. October 20, 1992, 2 nuns, both U.S. nationals, a Liberian man employed by the nuns, convent and 2 ECOMOG soldiers were killed in the nuns' car near Bannersville, apparently by the MPFL. October 23rd, 1992, 6 MPFL soldiers entered the nuns' convent in the suburb of Bannersville, killed 3 other American nuns and a Lebanese businessman, and abducted the businessman's Liberian wife, 2 other Liberian women with their 4 children, and 4 Liberian novices. Those adopted were apparently later released. MPRAG officials denied that MPFL forces were responsible. God. Late October 1992, the MPFL allegedly killed more than 25 people in Maryland County, apparently because they were suspected of supporting Urimo. October 1992, civilians in Monrovia were subjected to ill treatment, harassment, and looting by AFL and Urimo troops. At least 6 people were reported to have been summarily executed by these forces on suspicion of being MPFL fighters. November 1992, ECOMOG forces threatened to shoot on sight any member of the armed forces who broke a night curfew imposed in Monrovia. I was there in Monrovia at that time. January 1993, 2 unarmed soldiers were reportedly executed in January after being convicted of looting by an AFL court martial. January 1993, AFL soldier found responsible for extrajudicial execution of Brian Graham, manager of a research laboratory. February 1993, Urimo reportedly executed 8 of its fighters in February for looting and harassing civilians. February 1993, 13 elders at Hendy were held responsible for the drowning of a Urimo commander when his canoe capsized. They were executed. Oh God, 13 elders. So the man know how to paddle, and he doesn't know how to paddle the canoe. The man go, oh yeah. March 1993, Urimo summarily executed 114 young men in Zozo suspected of supporting the MPFL. Refugees who fled to neighboring Guinea were reportedly or either forcibly returned to Liberia or executed in Guinea after perfunctory investigations by an illegal tribunal of Liberia exiles based in Macenta and apparently linked to Urimo. Yeah, man. Look at these people. April 1993, when ECOMOG forces took Buchanan in April, civilians who refused to flee with the MPFL were apparently killed by MPFL soldiers. May 1993, in an attack on Fasamad, a town under Urimo control, about 200 civilians were reportedly killed indiscriminately by MPFL soldiers. July 1993, Urimo was alleged to have extrajudicially executed as many as 300 members of the Loma ethnic group in Vonjama who opposed their control of the town. August to September 1993, reports of MPFL attacks on Liberian refugees in camps close to the border in Cote d'Ivoire or as they returned to tend their crops in southeastern Liberia. Several were reportedly killed. September 1993, a UN inquiry found that the AFL had been responsible for the extrajudicial execution of nearly 600 unarmed civilians, mostly women, children, and elderly people at displaced people's camps near Habel in June. This report by findings of the TRC to the effect that the MPFL committed the atrocity. October 1993, Urimo fighters reportedly killed large numbers of people from the Kisi ethnic group in Foya district. October 1993, hundreds of civilians died or were deliberately killed during Urimo takeover of Lofa and Bon counties and the MPFL capture of Bon County. Countless civilians who remained after the capture were killed by the MPFL. October 1993, Sierra Leonean Revolutionary United Front forces were reported to have killed civilians in Lofa County on suspicion of supporting opposing forces. October 1993, Liberian Peace Council fighters reportedly killed civilians who refused to join them in Sano County in the southeast. December 1993, LPC fighters killed 9 church ministers in Greenville after accusing them of being anti-Crown. June 1994, Mandingo Urimo fighters reportedly killed at least 4 civilians and took women hostage for money when they burned and looted villages in the Teni area. Let's continue. June 17, 1994, Urimo fighters raided the village of Goi. They forced all the villagers to assemble at a central point and accused them of supporting a rival Urimo group. They burned houses and looted extensively. They also tied up the village chief in his hut and set it on fire. June 1994, an Urimo group led by Commander Keita killed 6 people from the Bongwama village and burned down the house of the local chief. June 23, 1994, an Urimo K group attacked the village of Ngoja and murdered 2 people. They were tied up and their throats slit. July 1994, in Banablo Beach, LPC fighters allegedly tied the victims' arms behind their backs, burned them severely with heated machetes. July 1994, LDF fighters reportedly killed more than 70 civilians in the village of Resi near Zozo, Lofa County. August 1994, Mandingo Urimo fighters allegedly killed at least 20 civilians in Bese, Lofa County. August and September 1994, an Urimo tribunal ordered the execution by firing squad of civilians whom it suspected to be MPFS supporters. August-September 1994, Mandingo Urimo fighters reportedly killed civilians in Lofa and Bon counties. August 1994, the MPFL was reportedly to have executed up to 80 of its own fighters without trial and to have tortured and killed Lieutenant General Nixon Gay, an MPF commander, for leading a mutiny against Chancellor. September 1994, the massacre of over 100 persons who were hospitalized and or seeking shelter at the Phoebe Hospital. Those killed were fleeing fighting between Urimo K and MPFL. The MPFL is alleged to have committed the crime. September 1994, MPFL fighters tied up at least 20 men, women and children and threw them into the St. John River at Baila Bridge. Hear this again. September 1994, MPFL fighters tied up at least 20 men, women, and children and threw them into the St. John River. September 1994, at least 2 Tanzanian unmanned soldiers were killed in Kagata when Crown Urimo fighters reportedly attacked a convoy of civilians fleeing Banga, which included unmanned observers and aid workers. Let's see how far we can go with this listing today. Then tomorrow we'll continue with another version. September 1994, on 23rd September, armed men reportedly killed displaced civilians and medical staff at Phoebe Hospital near Banga. Responsibility was not clear, but the killings apparently occurred after MPFL forces overran the area. September 1994, MPFL fighters reportedly shot dead some 100 people in Palala, Bon County, on suspicion of being Ulimo fighters. September 1994, LPC fighters in Greenville were reported to have killed Marie Topa, a girl from the Pele ethnic group who resisted being raped. There you go. She refused to be raped and they killed her. September 1994, LPC fighters reportedly assembled the inhabitants of Bolokpai, Kokoya district, Bon County, killed 30 alleged MPFL fighters and supporters with machetes, then shot dead 15 other civilians prisoners and fired into the crowd. TRC investigation confirmed. September 1994, MPFL fighters robbed and killed civilians as they fled, fighting for the control of Banga, Ulimo, with Ulimo. October 1994, from October, MPFL fighters reportedly killed scores of civilians in Maryland County, whom they suspected of supporting the LPC. Among them, Simon Yeke, and a Ghanaian school principal in Plibo. October 1994, LPC fighters apparently fired on assembled civilians in Zanzei, killing scores of civilians. November 1994, LPC fighters allegedly killed 12 residents of Sabo Wafenkin. November 1994, more than 50 civilians were massacred at Pinsville. Responsibility was unclear, but witnesses said the attackers were Crown AFL soldiers. December 1994, the MPFL executed 6 senior commanders held responsible for the fall of Banga in September, apparently after a court martial. December 15, 1994, the massacre of 48 civilians at Cowfield, Dupo Road, Mosawara County. The civilians were murdered and burned by Paul Vey, Sam Lato, and other soldiers from the MPFL while they were asleep in their homes. January 1995, Liberian Peace Council LPC fighters killed 18 civilians in Grand Cru County. April 1995, UNICEF representatives reported a massacre in Yosi, a village near Buchanan. They stated that at least 62 people, including women and children, had been rounded up and killed. Most has been hacked to death. The UNICEF workers could not determine who was responsible for the massacre. The area had been controlled by the MPFL but was contested by the LPC. June 1995, clashes between Ulimo factions in Roosevelt left many. June 1995, clashes between Ulimo factions in Roosevelt left many civilians dead. Survivors were raped and terrorized. August 1995, after the peace agreement, it was reported that MPFL fighters had been responsible for the massacre of at least 75 civilians in the Tapeta area in Niba County, although he discounted the figure of those killed. Charles Taylor, leader of the MPFL, stated that some MPFL members had been arrested and would face court-martial for these acts. November 1995, at least 4 LPC commanders were executed by firing squad on the orders of a special constituted court. According to reports, the execution followed a 2-week investigation into human rights abuses. December 1995, on-mail observers commenting on the human rights situation in Tomenburg confirmed that Yorumo J had forced civilians out of the hospital where they had sought refuge from the fighting and had used them as human shields to protect their positions. January 1996, members of the LPC killed, raped, and harassed members of the Grebo ethnic group in southeastern Liberia. January 1996, the buried remains of 5 civilians were exhumed in Tomenburg together with those of 9 ECOMOS soldiers allegedly killed by Yorumo J. One of the victims had been decapitated, and according to a pathologist, another had apparently been tied up and then shot. February 1996, Lieutenant Prince Musa of the MPFL was killed a few minutes after being found guilty by a court-martial of killing a civilian who refused to hand over money. March 1996, at least 4 civilians were reportedly killed by LPC combatants in Bikana, opened fire on them after running over a pedestrian with their vehicle. April 6, 1996, the attempted arrest of Roosevelt Johnson by the MPFL and Yorumo K with ECOMOG support. The attempt led to the 3rd battle for Monrovia, in which the U.S. government supported the beleaguered Yorumo J troops. Very want to. April 18, 1996, the murder of 12 persons in Zwana Town and Blount Town, Bomi County. A group of fighters stormed the area and burned down the displacement camp and Kamo Town. April and May 1996, fighters loyal to the MPFL publicly displayed the head of a Yorumo J fighter who had been shot and then decapitated. April and May 1996, the body of Benson Wen, former managing director of the Forestry Development Agency, was found near the police academy in Painesville. He was reportedly killed by the MPFL. May 1996, 5 bodies were found on Benson Street, Monrovia. The victims reportedly had their ears cut off or their throats cut before being shot, following fighting between Yorumo J and the MPFL. July 1996, 8 workers reported that Yorumo K was restricting the movement of civilians in a displaced camp in Swan and starving the inhabitants to cause food supplies to be diverted to their troops. Yorumo K released some 60 starving children within a few days, but did not permit the evacuation of other inhabitants for a further 2 weeks. September 1996, dozens of civilians were killed after clashes between Yorumo J and Yorumo K. At least 21 civilians were killed in Senje, Cape Mountain County, reportedly by Yorumo K. One of those killed was a baby girl whose skull had been fractured. September 28, 1996, The massacre of about 17 civilians in Senje, Grand Cape Mount County, according to a UN press release issued by the Special Representative of the Secretary General, Ambassador Anthony B. Yankee. 1996, an LPC official publicly stated that LPC fighters responsible for the killing of 3 civilians in Bikiana would be executed. The Charles Taylor era, 1997 to 2003. November 28, 1997, the murder of Samuel Doki, a former ally of Taylor, was allegedly murdered by Taylor's special security forces after defeating to found the Central Revolutionary Council, CRC. Doki was arrested with his family at a checkpoint in Banga. The Special Security Services, SSS, a government force within Liberia dedicated to the protection of the president, ordered the arrest and killing Benjamin Yete is linked. December 16, 1997, the murder of Daniel Yankan. Yankan was found dead somewhere near Freeport, Monrovia, with bruises all over his body. April 1998, the discovery of a mass grave in Zozo, Lofa County. The MPFL has been implicated. The civilians, including pregnant women, were burned at the hands and legs before being buried alive in shallow graves. July 10, 1998, the adoption of Nowhere Flomo, a prominent market woman, was taken by 9 members of the SSS. She was allegedly adopted from her house at about 11 a.m. September 18, 1998, the attack on Reservoir Johnson on Camp Johnson Road. The attack claimed the lives of between 53 to 100 people. Johnson and others fled to the U.S. Embassy for protection and were later evacuated to Nigeria and Sierra Leone. September 19, 1998, the execution of 1,500 Liberian civilians at dawn. The execution took place pursuant to President Taylor's order that Reservoir Johnson be evicted from his residence. The operation was spearheaded by Colonel Junior Fania, Leo Jebo, Sir Wally, Joe Tua, General Eric Sawyer, Ato Soa, and Benedict Menti. Oh, I see Sir Wally name inside. September 19, 1998, the murder of 13 crowned individuals on Shefflin Highway by Mark Guan. August 10, 1999, the massacre of about 25 Kwadu Boni individuals. The massacre took place in Nakobozu, Lofa County by militiamen. September 2nd, 1999, the massacre of about 25 persons in Nikabuzu, Lofa County. The massacre was blamed on the Defense Minister Daniel Che. September 28, 1999, the murder of Papa George, Henrik Cassell, the Deputy Commissioner of Immigration and brother-in-law of President Taylor, shot Mr. George, a taxi driver, for overtaking him on a road. Yeah. Cassell moves around freely without any public knowledge or how he got released from prison. October 10, 1999, the massacre of about 20 civilians by Siafa Norman. 2000, the year 2000, the summary execution of more than 100 persons at the Batala ATU training base in Bon County by Charles Taylor Jr. Some of the victims were trainees charged with failing to follow instruction. Oh my God. Why can you send a person home? January 2000, the massacre of 18 Mandingo persons in Bawon town, Zosa District, Lofa County. January 2000, The massacre of 26 unarmed civilians in Mingba, Bomi County. The civilians were accused of being supporters of Lord and were killed on the orders of Mervyn Sobani. Okay, I gotta be out of here in the next 9 minutes or so. May 2000, the summary execution of 42 captives in Vonjama by Joe Bala. The victims were presumed to be Government of Liberia GOL soldiers who had surrendered in a battle between John Town and Zozo. June 2000, the murder of Enoch Dougalier. Dougalier was a vice president when he died. September 2000, the attacks by the Revolutionary United Front (RUF) on Guinea. The RUF was accompanied by Liberian fighters and Guinean dissidents, including General Zouamanigwe. The RUF eventually captured Gegedu and Masanta at a high cost of human lives. March 2001, the summary execution of 14 persons in Konya, Lofa County on the orders of Momo Jiba. Jiba ordered the executions after the GOL captured the town from the Liberian United for Reconciliation and Democracy Lured. He also planned and executed the death of Francois Massacre, the youth and sports minister at the time. May 2001, the massacre of 7 Mandingo individuals by Daniel Gue and Tony Gonyo of GOL forces in Saklepie, Nimba County. June 9, 2002, the massacre of 110 young men and women in Bapolu County by Luet combatant Ofori Dia, aka Iron Jacket. The victims were accused of being GOL sympathizers. July 20, 2002, the massacre of 175 persons on the orders of Benjamin Yetin at Mahia River Bridge, Tomanbre, Bomi County. The victims were accused of being Luet sympathizers. September 18, 2002, the summary execution of Ase Gono in Congo Town, Monrovia, on the orders of Charles Taylor Jr. He ordered the death of Gono, his driver, because he hit a door with the car. October 21st, 2002, the incursion of Benjamin Yete, Joe Tua, Edward Zame, Joe Wallo, Osibo Demin, and Matthew Khan into the Ivory Coast on a mandate of Charles Taylor. The purpose of the incursion was to act as missionaries for Philip Dorr. A number of people died in the operation, including those who refused to sign on. 2003, we're getting there now. The abuses against Kisi civilians in Lofa County by Lured members were widely reported. Let me read that again. 2003, the abuses against Kisi civilians in Lofa County by Lured members were widely reported. February 28, 2003, the murder of Kara Lord, Emmanuel Shapolo, and Musa Keita of the Avantis Development Relief Agency by Bove in Tolls Town, Grand Kidjida County. June 4, 2003, the murder of John Yomi and Aze Vey on the orders of Benjamin Yetin in Pinsville, Mosorado County. Yomi, the Deputy Minister for National Security, and Vey, the Deputy Minister for Public Works, were arrested by a group of armed men acting under the command of one Banana of the SSS, who was acting on the orders of Benjamin Yetin. They were brought to Monrovia and interrogated before they were killed. Their bodies were dumped on the train tracks, but have not been found. May 6, 2003, the massacre of Samuel Bokari, his wife, murder, and 2 children in Nimba County by Adolphus Sampson, Gola Red, Alfonso Yane, and Marcus High Grade on the orders of Benjamin Yetin. May 26, 2003, the murder of a family of 5 at the railroad bridge near Ban, Niba County, by Adolphus Sampson. Sampson, the special bodyguard to Benjamin Yetin, murdered the family upon seeing them with $75,000 Liberian dollars pieces of diamond. $75,000 Liberian dollars and 2 pieces of diamonds. So he killed them for their money. May 2003, the murder of 24 persons on Lofa Bridge by General Sekou Kroma of the Lord and his men. Let me read that again. May 2003, the murder of 24 persons on Lofa Bridge by General Sekou Kroma of the Lord and his men. June 9, 2003, the murder of 18 persons at the Stockton Creek Bridge in Monrovia by Charles Taylor Jr. The victims were POWs arrested by General Roland Duo's men. June to July 2003, the murder of 42 persons on the Johnson Street Bridge in Monrovia by Lomax and Marcus High Grade. Lomax was the artillery crew commander of the Wild Geese. High Grade was the bodyguard to Yetin and Yene. The victims were accused of looting and summarily executed. July 2003, the murder of 78 wounded soldiers by Marcus High Grade and Gola Red on the instruction of Benjamin Yetin at combat camp. The soldiers who had demanded payment from Charles Taylor were transported from Monrovia to the camp under the pretense that they were going to be paid. July 2003, the summary execution of 26 persons in Clay by General Abbas of Lued. The victims were arrested on Busho Island as prisoners of war. September 8, 2000 to the 20th, 2003, the feeding of 26 living persons to Charles Taylor's lions. Let me take a pause on this one. Let me take a pause on this. You know why? I'm going to take a pause by replaying this. Since I'm about to leave you guys, let me take a pause by replaying this. The voice of Mr. Prince Johnson. Mr. Prince Johnson is threatening every one of us.
I'm not afraid, but the fact is that we all must understand why we had to fight. As Mimbanians, we know very well we were under siege. Our country was under siege by the Dole regime. We have audio report, we have video report where he said Mimbanians must what? Leave their country or they would never be seen again. We have those reports. We understand in those days, those fateful days, those bitter days, Honorable Councillor Tewon Gonglo could not use the word Gonglo. Because wherever name were using Monrovia, you were kicked out of the home. You will see body one side, here one side. Where was Tewon Gonglo that time? Even my son, Koga, who talking about Wakranko also, he ran away, he was saying, we are playing Africa, dividing Bokawi. We stood, many of our comrades are there today. But we who lay, is that the honor we receive from you? We paved the way for you, young boys, to grow up, to know the history, and tell your children never again to go back to the ugly times. So when you have Larry Yonkwa talking about Wakranko, the first thing I must let them know, it will never come here. Never. You know why it should not come? If there is an amnesty granting you pardon for whatever you are allegedly accused of doing, and you have a pardon, will anybody go after you? I'm asking you, are you allegedly accused of committing crime, and the president or the law grant you amnesty for whatever you were being accused of? Will people go after you for that same matter? No! The PRC junta overthrew it during the reign. They published a law, printed into handbills, is in the Constitution 97, granting themselves general amnesty for whatever they did while they were in office and after office. 97 came Liberians. He said, you will be doing wrong. If you were to come and arrest me, I will fight you. You know why? The same crime you want to arrest me for, which you alleged against me, is the same damn crime that Taylor committed when you said you killed Mama, you can't consider him with the presidency. You paid Taylor to be the president of Liberia. He's going to jail. It's not because of Liberia, because of informing Sierra Leone, alleged informing Sierra Leone. Then after Taylor, you say burn the mansion, destroy the mansion. I will rebuild in 3 days. You are compensating Madam Salih for 12 years. Now I'm a senator looking for a job to be your leader, talking about work rank. Can't catch me. I tell you what, I'm just saying, the injustice, the selected justice. Tell him my boss, how did he get free from American maximum prison? Ellie, my sponsor. You are paid them to be president.
But Honorable Senator, others will be saying that you have been paid also by Niba people for 18 years.
That's not the thing. I'm talking about national leadership. Man, people believe I'm a hero, when the other time I'm a devil. Because you were being killed, I stood for you.
Why every time this war crime issue is brought forward, Senator, you sound so bitter about it, not other war laws?
When the lightning flashes and the thunder roll, who cover your head? You cover your own head. So when you put my name and all the skeletons of my own people you kill, and put it graphically, you put it in a newspaper, and put my picture there that I killed my own people, then you are a fool. That I must be.
Senator, you have said the World Crime Court will not be established in Liberia, and all international bodies have stepped in. I understand the German ambassador to Liberia also spoken about it. He also for support. The international community is also stepping into this thing.
There may not be Okran with our law. Liberia is a sovereign country. Liberian parliament enacted a law granting amnesty from 1990 to 2003. That's what I'm saying. So if you want to repeal that law or amend that law or throw the law away to impose your will on us, then you will have a crisis on your hand in the Republic you will regret.
How will you come?
Go grab Alhaji Krumah. All the money will rise up. Go grab Joe Bully. All the crowd will rise up. Go catch Prince Johnson. You won't catch me.
Why?
You won't even catch me. Because the resistance you find for young guy, it will be maximum uncontrollable and ungovernable. Yep. You talking, those who talking, it's good you talking so we can know you. So the day trouble come here, which we don't pray for, your home will be the visitation.
All right. That's Prince Johnson. That's the latest one. There's last week. This recording, a lot of, in fact, majority of our guys in Liberia and the media do not even have this recording yet. But you heard it. The threat is not even. He's threatening the Liberian community. He's threatening, especially those of us that are sitting and using our medium to call for the establishment of war and economic crimes court. Now he's threatening us seriously that he's going to come after us because they know us by faces, because we are in their faces every day by virtue of where we sit and broadcast and things. So he's saying that, but this is a threat. I'm not going to take it easy. We're going to make sure that we communicate, we forward this material to the Justice Ministry as well. Okay, let's continue here and just end it on this the catalog of developments between 1979 to 2003. September 8th to the 20th, 2003, the feeding of 26 living persons to Charles Taylor's lions by Ziza Maza of Tomam Farm, Bon County. This was the prescribed punishment for crimes. Imagine 26 living persons. You know how in Monrovia, as a young person, I heard a story that actually the lions that Mr. Taylor was, he had in his in his garden or so, were being fed by leaving him on being. They will put, they won't kill somebody, just throw the person in there, and the lions will finish the person, and then the lions then will eat the person. I didn't know, actually. Now it's here in the TRC. October 11 to the 26th of 2003, the execution of 26 persons on the Pearl River, Tomanberg Highway, on the orders of General Wasu Donzo of the Lord. Some of the bodies were dumped in the Pearl River. 19 mass graves were discovered by researchers for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Lofa County. Locals attributed the dumping to Marine Chief of Staff Roland Duo. February to May 1997, ECOMOG forces undertook cordon and search operations to find hidden weapons. More than 70 people were arrested and held in secret detention camps on suspicion of possessing weapons. Most of them were tortured, ill-treated. February 1997, an ECOMOG patrol arrested 25 suspected former combatants in Grand Cape County, took them to Monrovia and held them in a secret cell at the ECOMOG base. They were reportedly beaten with electric wire. February 1997, 4 dock workers suspected of being former United Liberation Movement of Liberia for Democracy, Johnson Branch, Urimo J. Fighters were arrested in Sion Town and taken to the ECOMOG base in Monrovia. There, 3 ECOMOG soldiers reportedly beat them with wire on their backs, shoulders, and legs and kicked them. May 1997, ECOMOG soldiers based in Fendale traveled to Grand Cape County to conduct a cordon and search operation at Lejo Gold Mine. During interrogation, 6 former fighters and 3 civilians were reportedly slashed with razor blades. 1 former combatant died during the night following the beating. The other victims reportedly had swollen faces. September 1997, Liberian police and ECOMOG soldiers assaulted a group of some 500 employees of the Firestone Plantations Company in Habel, near Monrovia, who were demonstrating peacefully for the release of 4 colleagues held by the company's security staff. Police and soldiers reportedly beat the workers with batons and gun butts and then opened fire, injuring 7 people. And finally, April 1999, at least 34 people, mainly of Crown ethnicity, were charged with treason following fighting in September 1998. In April, 13 of the defendants were acquitted. Observers at the trial expressed concern about the competence of the court. All right, on this catalog of selected human rights violations over the period 1979 and 2003, this is how we will end this special edition of the Justice Forum program. Remember, Desmond Tutu said, and I quote, "If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. Where are you sitting today?" Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being there. And of course, hopefully by tomorrow, we'll be back tomorrow again. We'll continue with the TRC, some of the fundings. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be reading out names of those individuals and organizations or warring factions that have been named in the TRC, and also recommendations for some sort of punishment or so. So tomorrow, that's exactly what we will do when we return. All right, on this note, let me say thank you so much to all of you that have been there. We've been here. This is a special edition, so we've been here for long today. Yes, by the grace of God, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll go in the TRC again and bring you some of the developments there. Thanks to all of you that contributed. I'm so sorry I wasn't able to read out your contribution today. Those of you that call in, we appreciate it, and I think we are all together. If you're in Monrovia, please, November 12th is coming. If you're not too far from Monrovia, please, November 12th, get out and voice out. Freedom is what we want. God bless you. God bless the continent of Africa. Above all else, may God bless Mama Liberia. Good night from my end.